This is the story of something that happened to me last year. I'm going to tell you everything from the beginning, and once you hear it, you might think twice before ever living with a stranger. I know I do. So it all started when I moved to a new city for college. I didn't know anyone there. It was a big change. New place, new people, new everything. And like most students, I couldn't afford a place all to myself. Rent was crazy high, and I didn't want to live too far from campus. That's when I started looking for a roommate online. I checked all the usual sites. Most people either had messy apartments or gave off weird vibes. But then I found this one post that felt right. It simply said, "Roommate wanted." Quiet, clean, respectful. The apartment was close to college, rent was fair, and the pictures looked good. It didn't look fancy, but it was neat, simple. I messaged the guy. His name was Arjun. He replied fast and sounded very normal. He didn't try too hard to be friendly, but he also didn't seem rude. Just calm and quiet. That actually made me feel safe. Sometimes quiet people are the easiest to live with. We agreed to meet at the apartment. When I got there, Arjun opened the door. He looked just like his profile picture. Short hair, glasses, a calm face. He showed me around. The place was tidy, smelled like incense, and had soft yellow lights. I liked it. He said, "You can take the bigger room. I don't mind." That sealed the deal. I moved in the next day. At first, everything was fine. Arjun kept to himself. He didn't make noise. He didn't bring people over. He always kept his dishes clean. In fact, he was so quiet I sometimes forgot he was even there. Honestly, it felt like living alone, but cheaper. But then, on the third night, something strange happened. I was lying in bed, almost asleep. You know that dreamy state where you're half in a dream but still aware? That's where I was. And then suddenly, I heard it, whispering. At first, I thought it was from outside, maybe someone walking by the window or a neighbor playing TV too loud. But then I realized, it was coming from the hallway, from inside the apartment, from just outside my door. I froze. My room was dark, except for a bit of moonlight coming through the window. I held my breath and listened. The whispering was soft, almost like two people talking fast and low at the same time. I couldn't make out the words, but it was there, real, moving. I slowly reached over and turned on my bedside lamp. The sound stopped. I waited a few seconds. Then I got up, walked to the door, and opened it carefully. The hallway was empty, silent. Arjun's door was closed, just like always. I stood there for a moment, heart beating fast. I even checked the front door. Locked. Everything seemed fine. I laughed to myself, trying to shake it off. "You're tired," I told myself. "Just your brain playing tricks. Stress, new place, new routine." But I couldn't shake the weird feeling in my chest. That whisper. It didn't feel like a dream. I went back to bed and tried to sleep. The next night, I found out I wasn't imagining anything. So after that first night of hearing whispers, I tried to brush it off. I told myself maybe it was just a dream. Maybe I was stressed, tired, imagining things. But deep inside, I knew something didn't feel right. And sure enough, the very next night, it happened again. It was around 2 a.m. I was lying in bed, this time fully awake. I had actually stayed up late on purpose because part of me wanted to see if the whispering would come back. And it did. It started the same way, soft, fast whispers outside my room. This time I pressed my ear against the door, trying to make out what was being said. But the words didn't make any sense. It was like 2 or 3 people whispering at the same time, in different tones, overlapping each other. And I swear, some of those whispers didn't sound human. I slowly opened the door. Nothing. The hallway was dark, but I could see the soft light from Arjun's room at the end. His door was closed. I tiptoed closer. As I moved down the hallway, I noticed something weird that I hadn't before. Arjun's door, it had 3 locks, not inside, outside, as in to keep someone in, not out. Who puts outside locks on a bedroom door? I stared at them for a moment, confused. My brain was trying to come up with a logical reason. Maybe it used to be a storage room. Maybe it was for safety. But it didn't feel right. The locks were new, shiny, strong, like someone really didn't want whatever was in there to get out. That's when I heard the whisper again. Louder this time. It was coming from behind Arjun's door. I froze. I leaned in closer, and for a second, I thought I heard something scraping, like nails on wood. Then a soft thump, like something, or someone, bumping into the door from inside. I stepped back quickly. Suddenly, the whispering stopped. And just like that, I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around. It was Arjun. He had come out of the bathroom, holding a towel, his face half in shadow. He looked at me, then at his own door, then back at me. "What are you doing?" he asked, voice low and calm. I stammered. I thought I heard something." He didn't blink. "You shouldn't be near my room at night." There was no anger in his voice, but there was something else, warning. Like he knew something and wasn't saying it. I nodded awkwardly and went back to my room. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I tried to act normal. I made tea, offered Arjun a cup, asked him casually, "Hey, do you ever hear sounds at night?" He sipped his tea and looked out the window. "No." That's all he said, just no. No questions. No curiosity. Just a flat, cold answer like it was the end of the conversation. I knew then something was very wrong. That room, those locks, the whispering, the way Arjun didn't even seem surprised. I didn't have proof yet, but I was sure of one thing. He was hiding something in that room, and I was going to find out what. All right, so after seeing the locks on Arjun's door and hearing those creepy whispers, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My brain kept asking one question. What is he hiding in that room? I thought maybe it was a secret pet. Maybe he had a mental health issue. Maybe, just maybe, it was something paranormal. I didn't want to believe that last one, but those whispers didn't sound normal. They didn't even sound human. Then something happened that gave me the chance I was waiting for. One day, I came home early from class, and the apartment was completely quiet. No music, no movement. Arjun was gone. His shoes weren't at the door. His room was locked, like always. But I felt this weird pull, like something was telling me, now's the time. I stood outside his door and stared at those 3 shiny locks. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop myself. I had to know. I got a kitchen knife and a hairpin and started fiddling with the locks. Took me about 10 minutes. My hands were shaking the whole time. Finally, the last lock clicked. The door creaked open, and what I saw inside was not what I expected at all. The room looked almost empty. There was no bed frame, just a thin mattress on the floor. No pillows, no blankets, just one cracked mirror leaning against the far wall, and dozens of papers taped all around the room. Hundreds of pages, actually. Every single one had symbols and writing in a language I couldn't understand. Not English, not Hindi, not anything I'd ever seen. It almost looked like someone had tried to write while blindfolded or possessed. The whole place gave off this weird energy, like the air itself was heavy. I couldn't breathe properly in there. But the worst part was in the corner. There was a small, rusted cage, like the kind you'd use for a rabbit or a bird, only it was empty, except for one thing inside. A notebook. I picked it up. The cover was torn and covered in smudges, like it had been touched with greasy or bloody fingers. I opened it carefully. The first page said, "He lives in the mirror. If you hear the whispers, do not respond." I stared at that sentence. I must have read it 5 times. He lives in the mirror. What did that even mean? I slowly turned around and looked at the cracked mirror in the room. And I swear to you, something inside it moved. It wasn't my reflection. It was too fast, too wrong. It looked like a face, but not quite human. Pale skin, black eyes, a mouth that was smiling way too wide. I couldn't move. I just stood there frozen. Then, tap, tap, tap. The mirror made a sound, like something was tapping from the inside. That snapped me out of it. I dropped the notebook and bolted out of the room. I slammed the door shut, locked all 3 locks again, and sat on the floor, shaking. I had no answers, just more fear. That thing in the mirror, it saw me. And now I had seen it. After I saw that face in the mirror, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night, sitting in my bed with the lights on. Every little sound made me jump. I kept staring at the hallway, waiting for something, anything, to move. But the apartment stayed quiet. Almost too quiet. When morning came, I tried to act normal. I made breakfast. pretended like everything was fine, but inside I was completely messed up. That face in the mirror, those eyes, they weren't something you could forget. Ever. Around 9 a.m., Arjun came back. He walked in like everything was normal, said a polite good morning, and went straight to his room. I listened as he unlocked all 3 locks. Click, click, click. Then the door opened, and for just a second, I swear I heard whispering again. Not outside, not in the hallway, from inside that room. Later that day, I decided to confront him. I had to. I couldn't live like this, not knowing what I was living next to. So I waited until he was in the kitchen, making tea. I walked up, leaned on the counter, and asked, as calmly as I could, "Hey Arjun, can I ask you something?" He didn't even look up. Sure. I took a deep breath. "What's in your room?" This time he looked straight at me. His face didn't show anger, no surprise, just disappointment. "You opened it, didn't you?" he asked. I didn't answer, I didn't need to. He sighed and looked down at his cup of tea. "You shouldn't have done that." "Arjun," I said, trying not to sound scared. "What is that thing in the mirror?" He was quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, "It doesn't have a name. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's something older and worse." I stared at him. "Then why are you keeping it here?" "I'm not keeping it," he said. "I'm trapping it." He explained that the room, the symbols, the cage, the mirror, they were all part of a binding ritual. He didn't even own the apartment. He was sent by a small group of people who study things like this, paranormal things, ancient things. He was just a guardian, watching the mirror, making sure the thing inside didn't get out. Then he looked me in the eyes and said, "And now it knows you." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" He said, "It saw you. That's enough. It knows your face, your voice. It's probably already whispering your name." I froze. And then, right there in the kitchen, I heard it. A soft voice. So soft I thought it was in my head. It said, "Ravi. That's my name." I looked around. Nothing, but Arjun heard it too. He nodded slowly. It started. I stepped back, heart racing. Started what? He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into the drawer and pulled out a roll of thick red tape. Then he walked over to my bedroom door and started taping strange symbols all over the frame, whispering words I couldn't understand. I stood there, watching, too scared to move. When he was done, he turned to me and said, "Don't sleep with the lights off. Don't answer it if it whispers. And never look into a mirror in the dark." That night, I sat on my bed, lights on, every mirror in the room covered with a towel. And still, the whisper came again. Only this time, it was inside the room. So after that night, when I heard the whisper inside my room, I knew things were getting worse. I hadn't looked into any mirrors. I kept the lights on. I followed everything Arjun told me to do. But it didn't matter. That thing, it was already inside my world now. It didn't need mirrors anymore. It started slow. Lights flickering. My phone turning off by itself. The sound of glass cracking even though nothing had broken. But then, the dreams began. At first, they felt like normal nightmares. I'd be running down a hallway, chased by something I couldn't see. Or I'd wake up in my bed, but the room would feel wrong. The walls would be pulsing, breathing like lungs, and the mirror across the room would be uncovered, and something would be crawling out of it. But the worst part? I couldn't wake up. The dreams felt real, too real. I'd wake up in my bed, only to realize I was still in the dream. And always, the whispers would be there, soft, constant, and now, speaking in my voice. I couldn't take it anymore. I told Arjun I had to leave. He looked at me with tired eyes, like he'd heard it all before. "You can leave," he said quietly, "but it won't leave you." I begged him, there must be a way to stop it. He hesitated. Then he said, "There's one way." He explained that the thing in the mirror didn't just want to be seen. It wanted to be believed in. Every time someone hears it, sees it, dreams about it, it grows stronger, more real, more alive. The only way to stop it? Seal it again, with someone inside. Someone had to stay locked in that room, alone with the mirror. No food, no water, just them, and it. I was horrified. "That's what you're doing?" I asked. Arjun shook his head. No, he said, that's what the last guy did. My blood ran cold. He told me the truth, he wasn't the original guardian. The person before him had sealed the entity by offering himself. But over time, the mirror cracked, the seal weakened. It started leaking, whispering again. Now it needed a new host. A new cage. And I had seen it. Why are you telling me this? I asked. He looked at me silent. Then he whispered, because it chose you. I wanted to run. I packed my bags, booked a bus ticket out of the city. I didn't care where I was going. I just wanted to be far, far away from that apartment, that mirror, him. But as I stood outside the door, suitcase in hand, I felt something move behind me. I turned. The hallway light flickered, and for a moment, just a second, I saw the face. In the mirror on the wall, grinning. Arjun screamed from behind me, "Don't look at it." But it was too late. Something cold gripped my chest. I couldn't breathe. I dropped my suitcase. My vision blurred. And then, silence. When I opened my eyes, I was back inside the apartment. But it felt different. The lights were off. The walls were darker. The air smelled, burned. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I looked around, and then I saw the mirror in front of me. Only this time, I was on the other side. That's it. That's the story. I'm not the one telling it anymore. He is. So if you ever hear whispers late at night, soft, strange, calling your name, don't answer, because by then, it's already seen you.